You're interested in building a GE 60-ton industrial locomotive? Well, let's learn a little bit about this locomotive. I have built several of the electric locomotives that were used by Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting up in Flin Flon, Manitoba, whether it's from kits, scratch building it, or some of my 3D prints. Of interest to me was number 42, one of several more that I have yet to build. I have one blurry picture and stumbled upon one very nice picture through the Saskatchewan archives of number 42 working up in Flin Flon. But what I didn't have is much information in the way of a drawing for this locomotive. Didn't have dimensions, how many tons rating it was, how tall it was. I did obtain a parts catalog over time, which let me know which one was at Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting. And I also got a GE publication information, which has some basic dimensions for height and the size, and some interesting information that it was first built, this style of locomotive, for the Hanna Company. In there are some pictures of locomotive number 42, which went to the Asbestos and Danville Railway in Quebec, as did locomotive number 41. So serial number 11060 and 11061. It's 11061 that came to Hudson Bay Mining Smelting as a used locomotive in the 1950s. It's not able to find any information in about number 41 ever coming to Flin Flon. And I am quite certain only 42 came to Flin Flon. The disposition of number 41, I have no information of. This 600-volt DC electric locomotive was used for moving ore around Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting's plant, Flin Flon. Here we find it in a very odd shape. So what happened to this number 42? How did it get to this shape? Why is it not looking like the original? Well, in 1969, Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting crews converted it to an end cab electric locomotive. And I was told that this was to keep the crews farther back from the molten slag, as full cars were pushed and pulled for dumping around the plant. Some grainy film from 1997 of number 42 sitting out back of the company. This is not the locomotive that's at the Flin Flon Museum, which is number 97, which was built to look very similar, but in 1975. Telltale sign of the two locomotives, if you go there to the museum, is the frame and the trucks are very much different between the two locomotives. Looking at this engine, you can see some very similar shapes on the frame to the Hanna Mining ones and to the original pictures that were shown earlier. This locomotive was scrapped around 2001 when number 97 was taken to the museum. In 2018, I made a visit to the Lake Superior Railway Museum, and remembering that GE publication, I now could stand in front of the same type of locomotive as number 42 was. I didn't have the time right then to start modeling this locomotive, but I was quite interested again in doing this as a future build for myself. May 23, I now had the time to go and start doing some work on trying to build one of these in HO scale. Made a trip to Keewatin, Minnesota to look at number 304. I took over 250 pictures plus hundreds of measurements of this locomotive where I was able to reach from the ground, and did my best to get a lot of details for the locomotive. This locomotive is in a park in the town of Keewatin. Same day, made my way up to the Chisholm Mining Museum in Chisholm, Minnesota, to go look at it. Added dozens of more pictures of this number 305. There's a lot more to see on the top when you stand back, but again, you can't get up to the top. Able to get to is in Calumet at a state park, I believe, is number 306, which is on display out there. But that is on my bucket list to go, thanks to this unknown photographer. This photo that was on the internet to show you what 306 looks like, or looked like at one point. So with all those measurements on hand, knowing there was at least 6 of this types of locomotive built, I got to work making a 3-dimensional HO scaled copy of the industrial locomotive, have some plans with some actual measurements, found some videos online of how these pantographs actually work, just for curiosity's sake, and designed up a rendition of this HO scale locomotive. I have printed this locomotive in 3D using resin, and we'll be making it available to individuals if you're interested. Here it is, running around, test version of this 3D print. So how about joining me in some future videos and building one of these? If you have any more information about these locomotives, please drop a comment in the video. And if you're interested in one of these 3D resin prints, find me on Facebook at my Schist Lake Designs, and leave a comment there on that webpage. Thank you.